all the books that are official say, oh, nothing's known about her, her family line isn't known. In other words, there's been a very big cover-up to make sure that nobody can track her back at all, apart from herself. And that, I believe that I smelled a rat with that, because that seemed to me that there was an obvious campaign to make sure that her ancestry would not be known. And in my work, I've always claimed that she was a Scythian, which is a term that basically loosely means Gaelic. And of course, if you're speaking Gaels, then you are definitely speaking Western Europeans or Irish, or at least the European Celts, if you have to use that word. And so then now to find out, I repeat again, that now that the science, the genetic science shows that her son was of European ancestry, it is now a no-brainer that the 6 other daughters and the mother and potentially even the father, that's Akhenaten, were of the same Western descent or heritage.
Yeah, we did get right to the point where you were making it quite clear that the sisters and the husband were probably also of Western European extraction, and that's clear. There is, again, an awful lot. If you just do a simple search for King Tut in any search engine and look for images, you will find pictures of him, and there's just no question about it. I mean, the man is not of African DNA descent. Let's not take anything away from the African cultures, and they've made their contributions. But ancient Egypt is a construct of people who have scrubbed the historical records and made damn sure that we don't have access, and thanks to Michael we do now, to the concepts that are crucial in understanding what really went on in ancient Egypt with those pyramids. So who is behind the confiscation, as it were, of the data and literature that pointed to Western European or Gaelic heritage, at least in terms of that particular dynastic family?
Oh, it's that particular family's history has been skewed beyond all recognition. The main perpetrators are the British Crown and also their cousins in Germany, the Bavarian government, the Bavarian royals. Anyone who's had any kind of occupation, this probably even goes for Napoleon and his gang, but much less them than the British government, who even worked through the Islamic, because remember, everyone knows, or should know, it's a general known fact that the desecration that took place to the actual temples and statuary of Egypt was done by the Arabs, the later Arabs, who didn't want this pagan, didn't want these pagan civilizations to be known, and went around and defaced and so on and so forth. But I think the true story there is, again, that these people were often funded to do this. There was a campaign. This is picked up in the book by Gerald O'Farrell called The Tutankhamun Deception, which is a very important book.
Sounds like a great read.
Certainly the British government.
Yeah, that sounds like a good book.
Yes, it is. And the Vatican is also involved because, of course, who was it who colonized Ireland and made sure that the original pagan indigenous culture there was suppressed beyond all control? Originally, it was the Merovingian dynasty, the Templars of Burgundy in France, who came over, and they're known in the Irish context as the Chaldeans. These are early Christian monks. But their history I've gone into, it's very interesting. They were responsible for suppressing the Druidic culture. As I was saying just before the break, the Irish annals and legends speak about the daughter of Akhenaten coming and residing in Ireland and dying there. Her grave is there. Lorraine Evans, in a book called The Kingdom of the Ark, is a very top-level archaeologist who specializes in digging up Egyptian relics in England, in Britain. Her book is full of examples of this. Egyptian beads, Egyptian torques, bracelets, jewelry, even boats have been discovered. Then you have the great scholar L.A. Waddell, again, of the turn of the century, 19th century, highly suppressed author, a genius linguist. He was a contemporary of Schielman, the man who discovered Troy. These men were contemporaries. They were some of the first scholars in history to even see, let alone decode and interpret Sumerian script. So great giants of the world that have been completely forgotten because of what they discovered. And while L.A. Waddell, one of his greatest discoveries which is pertinent to what we're talking about, was that he discovered the grave of the first king of the first dynasty of Egypt is in Northern Ireland. King Menes is buried in Northern Ireland. What's he doing there? Why did he go there? So we have Scota, as I say, real name Meritaten, daughter of Akhenaten, sister of Tutankhamun, buried in Ireland.
Okay, now Michael, excuse me. These graves, have you been to them? Are they actually identifiable? Are they located on a map?
Okay, yes, they are. The location, it's all in the Irish Origins book, but the location in Northern Ireland of Menes has been defaced, but it is at a place called Knockmany in County Tyrone. All right, the Tia Tefi, another Egyptian priestess or queen, is buried near at a definable location, absolutely near Tara.
Well, what do we think here? Were they taken home to their area of origin for their final resting? Is that what we're looking at here?
Yeah, absolutely. They were going back to because they knew where the fount of all wisdom and knowledge and the fount of their civilization. The gods Ra, the gods Osiris, the god Horus, all are later descendants of Nordic and British or Irish, if you're using the pure sense. I don't just mean Ireland when I say Ireland. I mean the Druids, the Arya, the High Arya who had colleges throughout the world. Well, those colleges, as the Irish annals and the ancient legends of Ireland confirm, were all over the world, right down into Egypt. But the legends have always been taken for legends, and the myths have always been taken for myths. Why? Because those are talismanic words. You put the word legend on something and people dismiss it. You say something's a myth, and of course the words in their pure sense, I'm not saying that the words in their pure sense don't have a true meaning, but those words have been used talismanically to make sure that people will dismiss what they actually say. So when I went to the legend, you see, and then again the evidence of my own eyes, but absolutely, Scota's grave is down in County Kerry, and the only controversy that surrounds it is that maybe that's not her grave specifically, but it may be a granddaughter. But either way, apart from that little controversy, it is known that the family were there. There's no question that Scota, that was what her nickname was, that's how Scotland got its name. Scotland is named, and in the annals of Scotland, these are the early annals of Scotland, that's what it says. This is not Michael Tsarion saying this. This is Scottish official history.
That's amazing.
I mean, there's a reason why the British Queen to this day, this is pertinent to your question about who's controlling all of this, the British Queen is sitting on a replica of the Tara throne, the coronation chair that all the kings of England, it's actually technically called St. Edward's chair, is the Irish seat of the kings in Tara, was taken to Scotland and then moved to England, and it's identical to the chair that she sits on to this
back with
very
Michael
day.
Tsarion. His website is like a university. The knowledge is just incredible. It is detailed, it is scholarly, it is academic, it is irrefutable. So please go to Michael's website. Prepare yourself. It's like nothing you've ever seen. Now, the idea that Egyptian royalty went home to be buried in the area of Ireland is fascinating to people. The idea that the Queen sits upon that same throne, or chair, I guess is what it really is fascinating. But I've got, if you go to rense.com, look in the guest section, we've got that picture of King Tut up there now, and take a look at this gentleman and ask yourself, where might he have come from? Well, the DNA is, you don't argue with DNA. Quite a picture, and they've done a really remarkable job getting the skin tones right and all the rest of it. Okay, go right ahead. What happened after the Gaelic, if you will, or Western influence in the Egyptian royalty after the Tut dynasty? Did it change?
Well, this is where all the scholars have come in with their different theories, because, of course, this particular dynasty, Akhenaten, wreaked so much havoc in Egypt that the country rose up against them and they were thrown out, and then they fall off the map. Nobody knows what happened to Akhenaten.